Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 147 of Brew Talk with Mr. Beer. My name is Robert Lewis. I will once again be your host for today's show. As always, we appreciate you guys taking the time to tune and watch our videos. Hopefully you're enjoying them, learning something from them. If you ever want to read the notes from our videos, find us on our blog page, mrbeer.com/blog. We got all the videos posted on there. You can search for your question, see if we answer it. Instead of listening to us talk about it, you can also read about it if you choose to. All right, so today's topic, we will dive into it, is how to improve head retention in your homebrew. Actually, I couldn't find the video that we've done on this, 146 videos, so I figured it was probably time to bust this one out. I think this is probably one of the most disappointing things that can happen in homebrewing besides getting an infected batch of beer. If you ever had that happen, it's highly disappointing. But the feeling when you go to crack open your bottle of homebrew, especially if it's like a first brew or your first recipe and you're so excited and then you're just like, oh, does not look visually appealing. There's no head retention, no nothing going on there. So I thought it would be useful to break down some helpful ways to improve your head retention, both, different things you can do and different things you can do during the brewing process to help that as well. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that all your equipment and bottles are thoroughly clean. You don't want no gunk, no dust, no leftover beer residue, no anything in there. Anything that's sitting in your bottles or even in your fermenter can have effects on head retention and stuff like that. I would suggest cleaning your equipment quite often with a type of brewery cleaner. On our website, we have the Craftmiser Oxygen Brewery Wash. You can get that to clean your equipment after you're done brewing or after you finish drinking your beer. It is very important for head retention, flavors, aromas, all that stuff, that you keep everything thoroughly clean. So sanitizing is critically important when you're brewing, but also cleaning your equipment when you're done brewing and when you're done drinking out of your bottles. So make sure you're doing that. That can help your head retention. You also want to make sure that you have good bottles and caps. So if you're using our PET bottles and you've been using them for a long time, and they last for a while, but we do recommend replacing the caps every so often. So if you're, usually say every few months, but depends on how much you're brewing. So if you're noticing that your carbonation is starting to slowly dwindle down, your head retention is not what it was, 3 months ago in your brews, and you're brewing similar style beers, swap out your caps. They're like $3 on the website. Grab a pair with your next order. I think it'll make all the difference in your bottles. And if you're using glass bottles, just make sure you're using the proper bottles with the proper caps and you're crimping them and capping them appropriately, because that can also impact the head retention in your beer. Now on to glassware. It's critical that you're using a clean glass. You want no dust in it and also no oily soap residue. So if your glasses, they're coming fresh out of the dishwasher, you might still want to rinse them out before you do that. If you're hand washing them, you got soap in there, make sure you thoroughly rinse it, wipe them out good. Any dust, any residue from your soap that's in there, if you can't see it's on your glasses, will affect your head retention. So make sure you're using clean glasses. You also want to make sure that you're using proper glassware for your beer style. It's not a huge thing, but I think it does make a difference. I mean, there are certain glasses designed for certain styles of beers. You got flutes, pints, goblets, all of that good stuff. And that can impact the head retention of your beer as well as the aroma of your beer as well. That's why they're designed certain ways to kind of bring out different flavors depending on the beer style. Another factor that will impact is the proper way to pour a beer. Some people just like to run it down the side because they don't want to get a big head and get all that stuff, and you want to have a little no head retention. So, the easiest proper way that we can explain to pour your beer is you tilt the glass at a 45-degree angle. When your glass is about 2/3 full, level the glass out, and that's where you're going to get your head retention from. You don't pour super slowly, but don't pour crazy vigorously either. You want just a solid stream of beer come out of that bottle, and it should hopefully create solid head retention. So those are kind of the steps that you can do to make sure things are clean, make sure things are proper, to help with your head retention process. If you want to add some items to your brew to help with head retention, you can also do that. One way to do that is to steep some Carapils malt. You can pick up a 4-ounce bag on the website. They're extremely cheap. I can't remember the price off the top of my head. Steep it for 30 minutes at 145 to 155 degrees in your boiling water before you add anything else. So if you're just brewing like a standard refill and you're like, I would like some good head retention with this American lager, what you're going to do is you're going to pour your 2 cups of water into your pot. You're going to add your grains, make sure they're fully covered. You're going to steep them for 30 minutes at that temperature of 145 to 155. And then once that steep is over, you'll take the grains out. Then you'll follow the instructions from there and keep on with the brewing process. And that will definitely add a little more body to your beer and will definitely improve the head retention in your beer. It's also critical to make sure you're adding the proper amount of priming sugar to your beer. So if you're using carbonation drops, it's pretty straightforward. If you're using sugar, make sure you're getting all that priming sugar in there. Make sure that you're not dropping it on the ground, none's missing the bottles. Make sure it's in there. If you're constantly having undercarbonated beer with no head retention, you can always increase your carbonation a touch. You can kind of just play with it and see how it goes. And also, temperature is critical during bottling, conditioning, or carbonating and conditioning. If your temperatures are off, it's going to condition slower. Or if it's too warm, it's going to throw some off flavors in there. So make sure your temperatures are key. So to review, you want to make sure that all your equipment is thoroughly clean. No gunk, no dust, no nothing in there. Make sure you're cleaning it with a brewery wash. Make sure your beer glasses are thoroughly clean. Make sure your caps, your bottles are all squared away, good to go, are not overused. Make sure you're using the right style glass. Make sure you're pouring your beer correctly. And then if you want to add some more to the brew, make sure you can steep some Carapils malt. Make sure your priming sugar is on point. Make sure your temperature is on point as well. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Hopefully these steps will help improve the head retention in your beer if you are struggling with this. If you have further questions about this, head on our website and you can chat with customer service or email us at customerservice@mrbeer.com. We can answer any further questions you may have. So that will wrap it up for this week, and I will talk to you guys next time. Cheers.